Kwe Kwe, warning video number 2. This warning is about martial arts cults. Without going into some details, I'm thinking of 5 schools right off the top of my head which are supposed to be martial arts schools, but in reality, they are martial arts cults. And I'll give you 2 classic examples. The first one is this one school I'm thinking of. They invited one of their instructors. And what the instructor did was, the instructor sat on a high seat with his translator to his right, the audience's left, or his right, with his top student to his left, and then up on his high seat he spoke, all this grandiose, and the translator translated, and then the top student, this higher level student then was the sort of bridge between the high grandioseness of the instructor and the crowd. Now, that setup is a mockery, is a mimic of when a very high level monk, like an acharya, visits. And then they come and they sit on a high throne, and they have their translator, and they have the high level student, who the high level student is himself considered a master, right? He sits off to the acharya's left, you know what I mean? And then the translator translates, and the acharya helps bridge the gap between the grand amazingness of the instructor and the crowd, So if you've come to instruct martial arts, you should be on the floor with the dojo, dojo or outside, on the floor, in the dirt, on the ground. This entire pompousness of the instructors are so fucking holier than thou, and they is like, whoa, they're godlike and whatever. That's total bullshit. Okay, that's a cult. They're martial arts instructors. They're not gurus. They're not enlightened beings. They're not monks. They're martial arts instructors. They've come to teach you how to murder another person in hand-to-hand combat or with a weapon. You know what I mean? I don't understand why people try to find a spiritual path in murdering other people in hand-to-hand combat. If you look in the past, the great, martial arts instructors of the past, Yagyu Munenori, for example, when it's time to get spiritual, he doesn't quote himself. He doesn't quote the Shinkageru teachings. He quotes Zen. You know what I mean? He doesn't quote his dad. He doesn't quote his granddad. He quotes the members of his family who preceded him as the masters of the school. He quotes them in relationship to sword techniques, but when it comes time for religion, he quotes Zen. He quotes Buddha. So martial arts instructors, that when they get religious, and when it gets religious, they quote themselves, or they quote their master, or they quote their school. That's just a cult. You know what I mean? They're not teaching you martial arts at that point. They're trying to solidify a grandiose image of themselves in your mind, right? Pictures of alleged martial arts masters, and they're holding flowers, and they're gazing off into the sky. It's all bullshit. It's all an attempt to make them look important, because what they're teaching you isn't enough to addict your mind to them so that you keep following them. So they project this whole wannabe guru type imagery. You know what I mean? They quote themselves. They have pictures of them meditating or gazing into the pond. Whatever. It's all bullshit. Come on now. It's martial arts. It's how to kill people in hand-to-hand combat. You know what I mean? It's not a religion. Okay? There's nothing spiritual. There's no religious enlightenment when you break somebody's neck or you choke them to death. Okay? Or you push their eyeballs into their brain. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about y'all, but I mean, like, when I've been kicked in my ribs, it's not a religious experience. So, But the point of the matter is that so all these instructors that are trying to make themselves seem godlike or holy beings or whatever, and instead of just simply teaching you the material, they make it like a wannabe Buddhism, almost as if they themselves are gurus of some sort. That's bullshit. That's a cult. They're trying to sell themselves and addict you to their image. And no. If it's a real martial arts school, they're going to give you the material and make sure that you master the material. There's not going to be all this horse shit about thinking that they are like God incarnate. Okay, so that's warning number 2.